Hello, everyone. Welcome back again to another live stream. And also are trying to revive the channel to somewhat what it used to be before. It took me 7 years to do that, so it's not going to be an overnight process. Let me go ahead and remove this so I can continue on. We're going to remove this, close the window. Okay, we are ready. And then we're going to also remove. I got it. Nothing's automatic anymore. So in this type of broadcast website that we're using here, StreamYard, they have taken away some of the things we took for granted basically for free. And now you got to pay for them. So, and I just cannot afford to do that. This channel doesn't make anything now. So, and it wasn't making that much to begin with, to afford that kind of monthly fee that they were going to charge me just to have extras that are, yeah, they made life easier, but not really that great. Anyway, let's say howdy to everyone here. Nigel Waters was early this morning, as always, and he has a Canon Pro-300 with all the trimmings, and he is from Wales, UK. Ron K., Trenton, New Jersey, EPSON EcoTech 8550, QMH Ultimate Lifetime, Canon R5 Mark II, and a Canon D7D. Richard Bender from Hagerstown, Maryland, EcoTank 8550, Nikon D300, 18-200 zoom, Nikkor, of course, and 5 other Nikkor lenses. And he teaches HDR photography at HCC. So Hagerstown Community College, I think that's what that is. Henry Stoffel from sunny Medford, Massachusetts, EPSON P800. I can't even read today. OEM inks, and of course the latest QMH Ultimate 2026.10 now. Did they update again from the last update that they put out? I need to check, because if that's the case, I haven't updated yet. Pete Grobel, Plainville, Connecticut, Canon Pro 1100 OEM cartridges. Photo Nikon 780, Edmonton, Canada, Canon Pro 1000, EPSON EcoTank 8550, XP 15000 OEM ink, and papers, plus Red River, QMH Ultimate, Photoshop, and Lightroom. Henry says the latest QMH Ultimate, make that, yeah, was it 103? Okay, I think I do have that. He actually put that out pretty much immediately after the the yearly update that he does midsummer, basically for the following year, and he discovered a few bugs here and there. So he fixed that and then gave us the new update for those fixes, and also the new 2.0 deep focus sharpening, better than what we were doing in Photoshop, apparently, according to him. He tried it and he was flabbergasted how many halos he saw. So I take his word for it. He's the expert when it comes to that. HZ, hello from the Netherlands. In fair weather, I was asked to make the 12 by 18 prints for a local exhibition, which worked out lovely. My EcoTank 8550 with A3 plus sheets of EPSON premium semi-gloss. That, the 8x12 is kind of an odd size. I kind of like it a lot. It really does look great. It's like not quite an 8x10, which I think is not sufficiently large. That used to be a common, darkroom size that we all use. The 8x10 glossy in Hollywood, that was famous. Famous little phrase. NPM photo, Nick Marmolejo, Deer Valley, Arizona. EPSON Stylus Pro 3800 PSography Pro inks. EPSON XP 15000 chipless PCSE inks, QMH Ultimate Lifetime 0-in-1, Photo Raw Max, and Sony Alpha 6000. Steve from Germantown is here, just printed with the R2000 this past week. Excellent. I'm glad that thing is still working. It's a good printer. It wasn't really known for, like great black and whites. It doesn't have a gray ink, and that may be the reason. But it did have orange. It was really meant for color and, you know, photos with a lot of pop. And so it replaced the 1900, which was the earlier version, and then the P400, no, 400, P400 came out, which is when all the P whatever came out, and that replaced the 2000. Basically, the same ink said, I don't even know what they did to it. I really did not choose to get one. I really didn't need it at that point, but a good printer nevertheless, and easy to refill. Is used for, it was being used for direct-to-garment printing. They modified hundreds of these printers to take a board from the front with a t-shirt loaded onto it, and using vinyl type inks, it would then print on top of that shirt. The inks were horrendous for the printheads. The poor printheads just would not last. And EPSON printheads are tough as nails. But yeah, those inks would pretty much, after a certain number of runs, would just clog beyond help. Imagine you trying to dissolve vinyl. It's not like running a nozzle check and then a cleaning cycle. No. So what they did was they just replaced them. And they bought a lot of printers and just took out the print heads. These people knew how to do that. I saw a video of how they did that one time, and it made me cringe how quickly and how forcefully they removed those print heads. Nothing delicate about it. And so they had to replace print heads on these printers pretty much after, you know, several hundred runs of t-shirts. They would have to replace the print head, mainly because of the white titanium white ink that they had to use to lay down the initial print, and then on top of that they would print the color version. It was quite a process, but now it's all direct to film, and then they just transfer over to the t-shirts. Sort of similar. I think they're using pretty much the same inks, maybe. I don't know. Not too sure. It doesn't really interest me. Judy Ann, good morning from the other side of the country. Nice to have you once again. Oh, okay. So maybe I need to update again. I need to take a look. So yesterday we had a wonderful day. My good friend, ex-Marine officer, retired. His anniversary, wedding anniversary, I think it was like the 60s something wedding anniversary, and it was our 54th this coming 5th of September. So he said, why don't we have a dual party at my house? So we were able to bring my daughter, her husband, my son Jeremy, and the one and only Nathan, and we had a great time with his son and his son's girlfriend, and again, of course, that couple. And so we had a fantastic time. It was wonderful, and I think the kids really enjoyed it a lot. But anyway, so on the 5th is our 54th wedding anniversary coming up, and then my birthday after that, the 26th. I think it falls on let me see. Let me think if I can do a little live stream party for us to enjoy here. Maybe. So July. No, I'm in the wrong month. Let's go August. Come on. September. There we go. So it's going to be on a Friday. So we'll do it that weekend, the weekend of the 28th. How about that? I'll have a little cupcake, and then we'll light up a candle. You guys can sing happy birthday. I won't be able to hear you, but you know what I mean. I'm just kidding. We won't be doing any of that. But anyway, here we go again. Fred Elias is here. Warren, Michigan, EcoTank 8550, home user, Red River Papers. I hope all you Red River Paper users are using my link. My affiliate link is on the video descriptions. Please use it. That's the only way at this point, in the situation that this channel is in, the only way we bring a little bit of revenue So if you can use that link, it'll take you directly over to Red River, and then just order your materials as you need them. If every one of you does that, every couple of months I'll receive a little check for some money. It's not a lot, but it helps. There's no way all of these supplies that I have here, there's no way that I can buy them with our household budget. No, I have to earn it before I can buy it. So the only way to do that at this point, since the channel is not making any money, is to have you guys going to use Red River papers anyway. You're going to order from Amazon anyway. Use my links. It takes you directly to the sites, and you just order whatever you wish. And that way you help the channel indirectly. It won't cost you anything. Maybe a little bit extra effort to link that link to your browser, but that's about it. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. Let me hide this. So somebody asked this the other day, and I thought, why don't you just do this? Well, no, I come to realize it's not that easy. So let me go ahead and load up a website here a minute. The Canon Pro-1000 came out, and Canon's been pretty tricky about this. So if you go back in history, the Canon Pro-10 came out, and at that point, it replaced the Canon 9500. Okay, and that's the print head right here for that printer. I have it here as a prop, and that printer died on me after many years of service. But that was their first attempt at a small version, 13-inch capacity pigment printer, and it was a 10 color printer. That was the 8550, the 9500, sorry, the 9500, and that lasted several years. I had one. It's gone. It died on me as well. Print heads became unobtainable, so I just got rid of it. And then the Pro-10 came out, and I got one of those. And so basically we were able to now print what you would call long-lasting pigment prints. Before, your only choice for that size, that format, was a dye printer. And as far as dye inks were back in those days, they did not really come to par with what the Pro-100, for instance, brought out, and now, EPSON as well. Dye inks did not have that great of a reputation. So I bought one of those and I began to use it, and come to find out that really strange that when I chose matte paper and printed with it, I wasn't really getting what I would call a strong black. So my D max on these very, very dark tones, sort of, it wasn't that great. Then my friend Mike Lee from the old Precisioncolors told me, oh, you have to use fine art matte setting for that. I go, really? Why? Because it's using photo black otherwise. So I did that, and lo and behold, yes, now my blacks were more intense. That makes me think of the 8550, the same thing. We use vivid fine art paper, which is a fine art paper mode, and that triggers both blacks. So was the Canon triggering both blacks or just one of the blacks? But anyway, regardless, all of a sudden, the Pro-200 comes out, like after the Pro-100, like 13 years later is when the Pro-200 came out. And it had some improvements, but the improvements were those that Precisioncolors already incorporated into their ink set, their signature edition ink set, which is still available through the new distributor in Chicago, McNamara. And then the Pro-200 came out. That's what I'm talking about, with those newer inks that basically copied what Precisioncolors had done. and claimed that it was an improvement over the Pro 100, which I already knew that. I already knew that because I did a video, which I already uploaded. It's already on the channel for you to watch. The difference between the Pro 100 inks and the second signature edition inks on the same printer. But then the Pro 300 came out. So that was an improvement over the Pro 10, right? And then I ignored it. There's no way I'm going to use it. You cannot reset the chips. You can use it using, inksets that are available by other sellers, including Precisioncolors, but pain in the butt. With these here, if my chip says I'm empty, and I reset the chip and I fill it. I just add ink to the port directly. Once it reaches 32 grams, it's full. I put it back in the printer. Good to go. You can't do that with the 300. You cannot reset the chip. So you have to disable it. And we'll go over that in a minute. So what did they do then? Oh, the 1100 comes out and the inks are different. Oh, boy. But what we don't know is that behind our backs, for those of you who did not do large format printing in the Canon side of things, you may have had a 2000, which is a 24-inch printer. Has a roll adapter on it as well. In fact, you can put 2 rolls of paper and exchange them basically in a flash. And those printers were using the same inks as the Pro 1000. But then all of a sudden, the 2100 comes out. Instead of the 4000, the 4100 comes out. Instead of the 6000, the 6100 comes out. Did they change the inks? Nobody really knows if they changed the inks from, say, the 2000 to the 2100. Because as the 1100 made its, appearance and everybody was all going crazy over it, all of a sudden the 2600 comes out. 4600, 6600 comes out. And indeed, they claim they changed the inks. How did they change the inks? Well, I have an actual description of what they supposedly did. But, in short, increase the Dmax, which means the so-called matte black ink is stronger, denser. They changed the liquid base. It contains, and this is what drives me nuts, a wax-like ingredient that apparently once it dries, it increases the scratch resistance of your prints. Not that I've ever had any issues whatsoever with any of my prints getting scratched. I'm not super gentle with them, but I'm not super, rough with them either. So I don't know why they had to add that to that ink set. To me, it makes no sense at all, because really there was no issue that I could tell was, occurring with our prints from the Canon printers that required help, in order to diminish scratch damage. But anyway, they added that. And then better reds and better cyans and that sort of thing. A better chroma optimizer, which is amazing. If they really did that, I would love to get a hold of some of that and just use it on my Pro 1000. So the inks are different. So how do you go about wanting a 310? And Precisioncolors doesn't have an ink set for it. Let me go ahead and load Precisioncolors. So Canon model 10. Let's put that over here. And Image Prograph 300. Look at that. Isn't this something? The Pro 10 is not even listed anymore. Directly over to the 300. So let's look at this. Let me see, refill kit. So these inks have probably been tweaked to match whatever the heck the 300 may have done. I don't know whether this is, whether this is the exact formulation as the prior set for the Pro 10 or whatever. So did they have to adjust something? I really do not know. Again, because I was never really interested in that printer. I really didn't keep track of that. So the Pro 310 comes out. And yeah, guess what they are using now? The inkset for the 2100, I mean for the 2600, 4600, 6600, and the 1100. So it is the same inkset as those new, brand new families of printers. So if you want to refill, if a company claims that they have that, let me see if Ink Owl has that. Let me see. inkowl.com. Let's see if they have that available. Just so you guys know, for your information only, unless one of these resellers knows of a outside the United States source of ink. Are they making inks in Canada? Are they making inks in Europe? Of course in Europe. Germany, yes, but also China mostly. So let's see. Inkjet. Well, inkjet. Let's look at ink refills. Canon. And does it say the actual? Wait a minute. I don't see a model. Filter by printer. So Canon. Do we have to go to Pro? I don't know how they do this. Multipass, Pixma. Okay, Pixma. They have too many printers. This must be a huge company. Pro 200, Pro 200S, and that is it. So yeah, I don't see a Pro 300 here. So apparently the person who was telling me otherwise may have been wrong. So I don't see a Pro 200, 300. I don't see the 210. So again, I don't know what they did, but in order to be able to, for you, after you have disabled your chips, that's the only way you can refill this. Refilling is a piece of cake. Again, flip it over, put it on a scale, add ink drop by drop. Reaches 32, or you begin to see the little sponge beginning to flood right here. If you see buildup of ink occurring, you squeeze it and it gets even wetter. Just stop at that point and you're good to go. Put a clip on it, take it over to your printer and install it. You have to disable the chip. There's no way to reset it. So how do you know when to do the refilling? Well, if you have some empties, you can weigh them obviously and see what the empty weight really is. That will give you the number of grams of ink that it takes to fill that cartridge. It has a bag inside. It's a very interesting design. Nothing else in the Canon world uses a bag like that. So everything else is just a container like this, just full of ink. And so fill it up, weigh it until it reaches almost 32 grams. But of course, you know what the empty weight is. So now you take out a cartridge, you weigh it, and if it's above the empty weight, then you know it's not empty. In fact, you'll be able to shake it. And so fill them all up at the same time. It's my recommendation. And the way to do that easily is to have two sets. So, but I want to use OEM, folks, because no one else seems to have that brand new inkset formulated, at least similar to what Canon claims they're putting out. So we have to somehow acquire OEM inks. Well, the only way to do that is like I did with the Pro 1000. You buy those big old cartridges. I don't have one here, but you know what I'm talking about. They're like this big, 700 ml. Or if you cannot afford immediately, a couple $100 on eBay maybe. If it's direct from Canon, it'll be like close to 300 per 700 ml inks. Then you go on eBay and try to find. They have a 330, I believe, ml cartridge. They have two sizes. Buy one of those, and then you just take it. Have a little handle on top. Drill a hole, put it in a bottle. Use a little funnel, put it in the bottle. If you have bottles like this, you can then use that to directly fill your cartridges, and that will give you the ability, especially with the new 310, which uses the same inks as the 1100, which is the same as the 2600. Go to any site, look up for inks for the Canon Pro 2600 and order those. Look to see what they're offering. That printer's been out for a while, so there's going to be some cartridges people are liquidating. That's what happened with the the Pro 1000. I found carts for $90, 700 ml. Could not beat that. I had to buy some. So you buy those cartridges, extract the ink, individually bottle it, so you're not constantly messing with the same batch of ink. That's critical. So you divide it. You have 700, get 700 ml bottles or 120 ml bottles and divide it. That way you are only tampering with one bottle, one batch at a time. What are you worried about, Jose? Well, they do have a biocide to prevent contamination from bacteria, fungal spores that are everywhere. You have to work in a relatively clean environment when you're refilling your cartridges, especially if you're working from one source of ink. You don't want to contaminate that initial source of ink. It happened to me. Okay. The biocide was no good on this particular color for a particular Canon printer. And I went through 4 print heads, 4, because the print heads were getting cooked. They were getting clogged with fungal hyphae, the little fibers that fungus grows initially, and they were cooking in that channel. Magenta. It was the magenta ink. The lab here in the U.S. was producing a bad batch of magenta, and we were all using it. And it was awful. Before it was discovered, again, I went through 4 printheads at $100-something each. So not fun. But anyway, so my recommendation is to just look for equivalent ink sets that are available in large format cartridges, and then use those inks, subdivide them, buy a bunch of little bottles, and then separate them again so that only the first batch is being tampered with, and the second one, then the third one, and so on. You'll get top quality results. No one has an ink set yet. Okay, so the only way is to use those types of inks. Did they change the characteristics of the printhead? Did they change the print engine to act slightly different how it distributes dots? Just because the black ink now is able to produce a denser black doesn't mean the printer knows how to take advantage of that. So they have to redo the print engine. And so if that is the case, and somebody says, well, why don't you just use Pro 300 inks from Precisioncolors, from whomever? No, it's not going to work. Okay. Sure, you can probably profile it and get reasonable results, but it's not going to be the same as using the actual inks. And as of yet, I haven't seen anything for the Pro 1100. I may go back and look again, but Precisioncolors doesn't have anything for it either. They have stuff for the Pro 1000 because that's not really a super specialty type ink. They brought this in a way, and to me is a little bit suspect, because these companies, okay, somehow Epson has managed to, without breaking any laws, block you from doing anything with their new Epson new printers. The newer printers that are out there, there's no so-called chipless firmware for them. I think the last one was the P800. You were able to get that. So Canon, on the other hand, apparently allows you to do things like disable your chips. And then once you disable your chips, and someone can design or just refill your cartridge. You drill a hole and you refill it. You don't have to really get a refillable cartridge. If you have an Epson printer and you disable the chip, then you no longer have to worry about that. You just get, there are refillable cartridges for the P800, believe me. Okay. And if there was a chip, a so-called chipless firmware for the 900 or the 700, you can bet your bottom dollar they would be available third-party cartridges here in the US, like they are in Europe. Okay. It's just here. And I don't know whether here is North America or just the US, but I know in Canada the same story goes. Epson does not allow you to use third-party products anymore. That's why EcoTank printers are so darn popular, because chips, they don't even know what a chip is. They don't use them. Okay. So anyway, that's it. Now, how to disable your chip. So say you get, whether you get a 300 or a 310, how do you go about disabling your chip? Let's take a look. Precisioncolors has instructions how to do the 300. There's nothing different about the process between the 300 and the 310, or the 200, or the 100, or the Pro 1, or the Pro 1000. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so in order to find out this information, you have to go into the website, hit Canon. Let's start from the beginning. Hit Canon, 10 tanks, and the 300. Then go to instructions. Refilling the PFI 300. Step 1. So this is going to cover everything you need to know. Place ink on an outlet pad and allow the cartridge to reabsorb ink. What? Place the ink on the outlet pad. That it says place the ink. No, dribble the ink drop by drop into the outlet pad. I don't know who wrote this. Mike, did you write this? This sounds like a translation from one of the Japanese or Chinese sites. Allow the ink to reabsorb initially until it will not absorb anymore, or until it reaches approximately 32.5. I say 32. I have had cases where even 31.5 is already full. Okay, so there is a video. If you use a scale, the process is complete. Step 2, if you did not use a scale, then you have filled until the cartridges stop absorbing ink. You will need to remove excess ink. See the video. Step 3, only first time refill. Disable chip per guide here. So we're going to go here. This is a refill app. It's just basically an app that allows you to keep track of your refills and when you do them. Okay. So this is how to do the chip disabling. After the printer declares the tank to be empty, this is different. This is different than the Pro 1000 and the 1100. Okay, totally different. After the printer declares the tank to be empty, simply remove from the printer and refill as per instructions to refill. Okay, so we refill our Pro 310 cartridge. When the tank has been replaced into the printer, you will get a support code of $16.99. At this point, you simply press the lower round button. That will be on top is the power button. Then you have a secondary button for 5 seconds, at which point the printer will display processing. That's the same as the Pro 1000, and continue to work. At this point, you will notice that the ink level on the color affected will be eliminated. you will no longer see anything. On, say, magenta. On the Pro 1000, it's a little bit different. I'll go through that process step by step as well. It's a little bit more complicated. At this point, you will notice that the ink levels and the color affected will be eliminated. Henceforth, you will not get bothered about ink, etc. for that color anymore. You simply continue using the printer and refill when necessary, either by using a tally counter or by calendar. This will occur one time per color. We'll go through the process. So this is the ink may have run out. Replace the ink. So you got to get a red X. This is low, not here. You could, if you want to, top it off at that any time. The thing is, you have to go empty first. Press the secondary button, 5 seconds. Words processing will come across the screen, and then stop. Once it stops, that chip is now disabled. You could have topped it off before that or after. It doesn't really matter. And here is now that the ink has run out. Replace the ink tank. After refilling the gray and replacing the tank, you are presented with a support code. Do not panic. The solution is below. Press the lower button for 5 seconds. The printer will proceed printing again. Okay. So that's the way that is done. And that will work either for the Pro 200, the Pro 300, or the Pro 310. Same procedure. So with the Pro 200, however, you could do a trick. You could take a CLI 42 Pro 100 cartridge carefully without disturbing those posts, because it's literally welded on. The little posts are melted. Remove that chip as carefully as you can. Take the same colored chip from your empty but opaque CLI 65 cartridge and replace it onto that matching. Say you're doing yellow, you take a yellow CLI 65 chip off of that cartridge and you mount it on the now chipless CLI 42 yellow cartridge. Now you have a 65 onto a 42. Okay. Now you can see through the cartridge because it's transparent. It's like this. You can see through it. It is not opaque. So you could do your ink replacement after you disable the chip using the same method visually. You can't do that with the Pro 10, the Pro 200, the Pro 300 or the 310. The cartridges are opaque, so you have to use a scale to make sure that, or visually, as you add ink, once it stops absorbing, you know the cartridge is full. That bag automatically inflates itself with ink. So that's it. The process is the same. Now for the Pro 1000, or say you're looking at the 1100 and you want to use OEM ink, get those large cartridges. Look for them. Scour them daily on eBay and see if you can find a source for them, and then buy them in the large bulk type level. That way your cost per milliliter is going to drop drastically than buying the actual cartridge itself or buying these size cartridges. This would kind of cost you a fortune. So you buy the large cartridges. Like I said, I just paid $90 for one of them. Divide that by, if you're going to do full refills, 80 ml, that will give you like 9 refills. This costs $60 each. So for $90, I was able to get like almost 7 refills. And I'm actually refilling before it's empty. So even better. If you need cartridges, Rick Johnson, link in my video descriptions. Please look at the video descriptions. There's a lot of sources for you to save money and also to support the channel. Like, for instance, if you're going to buy QImage Ultimate or QImage 1, there are links for that. Okay? They give you a discount, and I get a little bit of a cut. It's a win-win. Amazon. Everybody uses Amazon. There's a link to that. Okay. Help my friend Rick Johnson continue providing us with already processed CLI 42s, CLI 65s, and so on. Okay. Rudy HALIMUN makes these beautiful little holders. Where are they? Let me go get it. My Pro-10 is dead, but look at this. I line them all up. I top them off one at a time. Everything is labeled. I don't have to worry about mistakes. Oh, I filled the wrong cart with the wrong ink. No, I clearly can see where each one of these sits and what color it should be. But these are 3D printed, and he provides these for you as well. Link in my video descriptions. Besides pre-modified cartridges, you guys that have, all of you have 8550s, these babies have a user replaceable waste ink cartridge. That is what kills most Canon early printers, like the Pro-100. Once that internal pad is saturated, that's it. Buy a new printer, period. And it tells you parts have reached the end of their lives. And you go like, wow, that sounds serious. Is it going to stick its legs up in the air and die? Yeah, it does, because it needs to be reset. And the only way to do that is through a shop. And if you're going to have the pads replaced as well, which you have to, it's going to cost you $150 to $200 if they even want to do that job. Okay. So at that point, you just buy a new printer, especially with me, who bought my Pro-100s. I have 3 of them. One without a print head yet. I'm so lazy. And then 2 brand new ones. I hope they're still okay. And I paid like $100 each. That's when Canon was giving away printers to people who bought cameras, and they were all over the place being sold on Marketplace, on the local, what was that sales thing locally. Yeah, so he has whatever you need to replace those. Whether you want, if you want to get dirty and you want to replace the pads yourself, he sells the pads. I have it all over there. And you want to reset the chip? Oh, you can reset the chip. How about that? Yeah. So if you're really conscious about the environment, you don't want to toss those nasty ass pads completely covered with black gunky ink, because that's what it turns into the trash. Put them in a tray of water with a little bleach. Rinse them out. The ink is biodegradable. It can go down the drain. No issues. But then you clean those pads. And if you're really crazy, and I've done it once already, I reuse those pads after I dry them very carefully. I did not smash them. I kept them nice and fluffy. But anyway, he sells the pads. He sells the replaceable, the complete actual waste ink cartridge. It is a third-party cartridge, works just as well. You can buy chips if you want to go that route, or you can get the resetter and just reset your old chips. And so far, it's been working fine. I also realized that when the counter, my indicator, says that I'm, say, getting almost full, the cartridge is not really full, folks. The cartridge is vented. It's constantly evaporating the water contents of however much ink has been absorbed in those sponges. So it's constantly losing weight. In other words, it's as if you drop 4 ounces of a liquid, but after a month, there's only really 1 ounce. Sure, there are some solids in there. The ink now, the dye ink has dried. But anyway, I found out that you can reset it, reuse it, reset it, reuse it at least 2 times. Okay, I wouldn't say 3 times. That might be pushing it. But again, hey, that for that you need a resetter. And so if you want to go the easier route, is just buy the replacements and then carefully dispose of them properly. But yeah, all of that is available through Rick Johnson. So make sure you take a good look at his website. Actually, not a website, but the eBay store. So yeah, for inks, just if you want to stay OEM, which of course is what everybody recommends, right? Nobody wants to use third-party inks anymore. They're awful? No, they're not. They're not awful. Okay, they're pretty good. But if you want to use OEM, then look for larger cartridges that allow you to extract that ink and then load the smaller cartridges with. Imagine this for 1 second. This takes like a total of like 13 ml. And you buy a 700 ml cartridge. Let's do the math. And you're not going to go too empty. Absolutely not. You're always going to refill before empty. You cannot do that anymore because you cannot reset that chip. So you don't have that luxury. But let's just say that you're refilling and you need 700 ml. Hell, I don't even need a calculator. 100 refills. You get 100 refills, folks. This will cost you probably 25 each, and there's 10 of them. So do the math. Every time yeah. And remember that whenever you replace one, this is why it gets so expensive. This is why I'm constantly preaching about lowering our costs of printing. And if you want to, if you just say, well, I don't want to ever use third-party inks, okay, fine. We are lucky that Canon has a family of printers, small to big, that uses the same inks. And you could buy that ink in bulk, literally. Okay. And take that bulk ink and refill these tiny cartridges. So if I just add 10 ml, it takes 13. Say I really get good at it and I can always catch it when I just need 10. So I never really run out. 10 divided into 700 is 100 refills. Yeah. You see what I mean? So you'll be able to print on those printers a lot cheaper than just sticking with the regular cartridge routine. So yeah, that's all I can say about that. Okay, I'll have to check for that. I really don't think I don't want to get argumentative, but I really don't think that they really truly have a matching ink set. Okay, I really don't think that. I think this wax-like scratch-resistant ingredient, that's a secret. Unless somebody can do mass spectrometry on the new ink and figure out what the actual, you know what I mean, where the actual components are. I don't think anyone really has a true replacement for that. I'll have to look at that. But if they do, then by all means. But you're still dealing with third party. If you want to sell, you're selling, and you want the best output because you don't want to cheat your customers. You have to use OEM. It's really as simple as that. Or just tell your customer, hey, do you mind using a secondary inkset? And they'll look at you like, excuse me? You're going to charge me this much and you still not? No. See what I mean? For selling, you really must provide your customers with the best ink available. Okay. So, but anyway, I just giving you these options that you can then use if you just do not want to use third-party inks. When I next speak with Matt McNamara or my still very, very good friend in Canada, Mike Lee, I will ask him what the plans may be. Mike is just sort of still connected with Matt a little bit, nothing to do with the actual business, but for information and help. So I will ask to see what the deal is with that. Somebody was talking about, well, why not use that ink on the Pro 1000 and then, run some profiling? That might be a good idea. Who knows? Who knows? I may, if I find good sales, I may replace some of the important colors like matte black, chrome optimizer, magenta, cyan. That would be one of the primary colors I would need. That is claimed that the 1100 has improved upon. Yeah, so there we go. Those are 200 sets for which one? For these Pro 100 or the 200? Yeah, he's got it all. Check out the eBay store, please. Good morning from the West Coast. Pro 300, 5 ink sets. Refilled many times. Always refill when removed from printer, and therefore always have a spare set ready. Rotate the inks every 6 weeks. Okay. My trick always has been 2 sets and a holder like you saw earlier. So I have 10 cartridges. In my case with a Pro 10, reset and topped off completely. And then my printer, when it was working, as soon as I see one cartridge reach low, I remove all 10 of them, put the clips on them. I have clips already set. Put clips on them and put them on that secondary holder. Take the already filled and reset set, pop it into the printer, close it. It runs 1 purge cycle because I change all 10 at the same time. How long will it be till I change the 10 again? 5 weeks? 6 weeks? If I did not do that, I would be changing individual cartridges a lot more often because they're all going to get crazy at levels, different levels. And when you have a cartridge that is just about like around low, and then one that was empty, and you replace that empty one, close the lid, it runs a purge cycle. The low one now is empty. Now you're going to run 2 unnecessary purge cycles. Change all of them at once. This only applies to refilling. It cannot be used for OEM. No, unless you're refilling with OEM. It's only about refilling, not a regular person using, OEM purchased cartridges, and you have to, of course, replace them one at a time. Your pads will become saturated. How many cartridges do we have? 10 times faster. How many cartridges do we have? 8 times faster than if you were replacing the whole set at once. It runs just one purge cycle every month and a half whenever you change a set. You see that? We came up with that, okay? That's not something that was some kind of secret. We came up with that and we put it out to the audience. This has been my practice. My Pro 100, it was going to be 14. Had it been okay until now, August, today, it would have been 14 years old. The pads are still not saturated. How do you explain that? Where other people in 2 years, their pads are saturated. You know why? I just told you why. Because they change 1 cartridge at a time. Because they had to. They were using OEM. Or they were refilling and they did it wrong. They changed 1 cartridge at a time. They took it out, they reset it, they refilled it, put it back in, closed it. While the other cartridges were all at different levels, and they all dropped. When that purge cycle took place, everything dropped. Okay? Put a whole set filled. It will all drop a little bit, but they all are at the same level. Because it takes several cycles for the so-called domino effect to begin to build, where cartridges will be at different levels, and you'll be changing one after the other literally every week, okay? You don't want to do that. It's not good. Not good practice. I am shocked that we have 34 people here. That's wonderful. If you have not done so yet, please subscribe to this new channel, okay? Join my Facebook group. I will be uploading. Let me show you real quick what we are talking about here, folks. Let me show you real quickie. I am going to show you. This is just one drive. Let me set this up here. This is just one drive. This is actually my small drive. So these are videos that I still need to upload from the past. I don't have everything. I do not have everything. But at least I have some major videos that I can upload. I got live streams here that I'm going to be adding every Saturday at noon. So like yesterday, an early live stream went back up. And these new ones that I've been doing, I'm going to download them. I'm going to get into the habit of downloading them to make sure that I always have copies in case some catastrophe occurs again. So here we go. I got a bunch of live streams here that I'm going to re-upload. Live streams are a little difficult because I don't have, it's just all named live streams. They always have the same name and a different date. Don't know who that might be, but maybe for my wife. So that's what I'll be doing. And slowly but surely we'll be restoring the channel. Just make sure that if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please do so. Click that little bell. I want you to be notified. You don't have to immediately watch anything. You just get the notification. And then you know Jose put something new up. And I'll watch it whenever I can. And watch the whole thing, really, because I need to accumulate watch hours. That's total watch hours before we can reach a level where they will consider me again for monetization, in other words, and begin to earn a few bucks a month. Okay? I'm not begging. I'm just telling you this is the process. It's a slow process. This is not one of those crazy Mr. Beast channels that makes millions of dollars. No, of course not. And he can do all kinds of things that cost $1 million every time he does it. No, that's not who we are. We are educational. We are here to help people, not to make people, basically they're paying for that, in other words. Okay, so Edwin is here. Good morning from the West Coast. Pro 300 5 ink says refill many times. Also, always refill when removed from the printer and always have a spare set ready. So yeah, always do that. That he's doing it the right way. Pete Grovel, same info from on the Pro 1000. It has a mode to short or normal for cleaning cycles. Also perform 2 cleaning cycles, use barely ink. Seems to use less ink than the Pro 1000. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. Now that you mentioned that, I haven't. Let me activate and also check. And when I come back, it will have begun the process. I want to see how long it takes. I think I did it last week. Paper. Okay, so it's beginning to do the ta, which is the agitation, internal agitation of the compartments. It is now 1:02 p.m. So I will be looking back there, make sure that I keep track of when the print is done. So people claim that it takes 15 minutes before it begins to print. We'll see. And again, I haven't used it since last week, so since last Sunday. All right. Yeah, I think they had to do that because, for example, my 620, my G620, I used it last week for something. So obviously, there's no room in here for. Obviously, it is a Canon printer. So it should run a cleaning cycle, shouldn't it? We'll see. Let's open up my driver. I'm just going to show you what I have to go through here. So my 620, this is the one on Wi-Fi. Right click, printer preferences, maintenance, and boom. And then over here, it will open up a new menu. And all I'm going to do is do a nozzle check right here. And then over here again, print check. And do not start another operation until this one is completed. It's printing it right now. You see what I mean? So it is not something every Canon printer does. It depends. It depends on the model. That's now doing a nozzle check, which is a nozzle by nozzle check. It's not wasting any ink. It's just checking, making sure that each nozzle is activated. Okay. It's a super smart printer. I'm telling you, it's amazing. Okay, it is doing a cleaning cycle. How about that? But that's because I've been neglecting it for a whole week. But normally that's it. It took what, a minute. It is now 1:04, so it's been 2 minutes. We're looking for clean bands for all the 6 colors. It's printing. Actually, no, it's still working. Great little printer. I still have, while all of this is taking place, I'm going to be signing this both on the mat and also on the actual print. Send this to my friend. I went ahead and trimmed this one down. This is on that Strathmore linen paper. Look at the way that came out. That was on the 8550. Here's my Grammy, mi abuela, my father's mother. And this is the one that we just did on. This was actually a very good paper from Ilford, but I didn't have a profile. Came out a little bit strong, 8550. I just used, I believe it was semi-gloss setting. This is how it should really look. And I did the sublimation version right here. So this is what it should have looked. This is a little bit, it's strong. Okay. Some people might say, wow, that looks gorgeous. I love it. Look at the colors. Well, it's a little bit overdone. It should be more like this, a little bit more subdued. The color balance, though, is spot on. It's the same. It's just more saturated than you would expect. And I think I did use semi-gloss. I don't think I used that other method. It just printed. So it took maybe 3 minutes. And I have clean bands. So everything is good to go. The only catch with the 620 is that there aren't any profiles, and you have to make your own. It does allow you to use profiles, but it just does not have profiles. I think for Mac you can actually download them, and I think there's a way to get them, but I haven't really tried. What I just do is create my own. So, and that's done over there. So. When this pops out, And you have the wet bands right here. You can see the paper buckling, the Chrome Optimizer bands right there. You can see it right there. And everything else, all the crosses are full. Nothing is, yeah, perfect. So my Pro 1000 is working perfectly. So I know that that process it went through, that was a check. That was a check to make sure it can fly. It can take off to the moon. So once it does that and it passes and it's doing that internally using its own AI magic, whatever you want to call it, it figures out. Now, Pro 10, Pro 300, Pro 210, 310, I mean, they don't have a way to really measure like how much ink has really passed through the print head. These Pro 1000, 1100 and bigger, they do. They actually measure, physically measure the amount of ink that passes through that compartment. There are sensors. They reach a certain level, they open up a inlet valve, a certain amount, a known amount comes in, it triggers the upper sensor, it stops that entry of ink and continues printing. So every time it does that cycle, it knows that so much ink was used. And so then it simply does very simple math. Did I use 80 ml of ink? No, not yet. Oh, well, then you're still not empty. At the very, very end, it will either run out of ink. So when they open up that valve, no ink comes in, or it will run out of ink. It will say, I need ink, open up the valve, and only 1.5 ml goes in. That's not enough to trigger the upper sensor. And it says, okay, continue printing. There's a third sensor at the lower level, and that's the one. Once you reach that sensor, it's still not running out of ink. There's still ink in the ink lines and the printhead dampers. It's just the compartment now is empty, and no more ink is coming in to fill it. He knows now, it knows now, she knows now, whatever you want to call that printer. It knows that originate the originator of ink refills, this baby right here, is not able to replenish any ink. It must be empty. Red X. Now, these cartridges, Pro 10, I don't know what it uses. I don't know what kind of method it's using to determine that it is empty. It's got to be using something. I'm not really sure. Okay. Wait a minute. Let me go back to. Oh, yeah. He has, yeah, all the stuff for the 620 as well. Rick. Wait a minute. There were some earlier ones here. Okay. Here we go. Ron K. I wish we lived in a world where your channel would make more views than Mr. Beast. Yeah, sure. Ha ha ha. When you look at some of his live streams and you see thousands of viewers watching, it's like a cult. It's almost like a cult. The guy is a cult right now. Yes, it is. Yep. So two print heads. Okay, one for your black and gray, and then the other one is for your actual colors. Okay, so total of six uh, tanks, internal tanks, like the eco tanks. Okay, wonderful. If you have time, could you please print a vibrant print a print on 1000, something with vibrant blue? What do you want to look for? You want to see if it's strong enough. Again, be aware that when I show you that it might not live up to what it actually looks like. Okay. Since I already got it ready, I might as well load some paper. I'll be right back. What are you curious to find out, Pete? What is it you want to see? I'm sure that I have something with a lot of blues, maybe an ocean scene or something similar. Let me open Q image. And actually, I can even enhance the photo a little bit just to see if I can come up with something what you might expect. So we're going to use 13 by 19 semi-gloss and give this baby a 1/2 inch border. Okay. I'm going to show you some of these photos and you tell me if that is something you might want. I don't have a lot of stuff prepared here for instant printing, but you can sort of get an idea. And I can enhance these as we go. So here's lots of different colors here. Lots of different colors there. Again, there's a lot of blues in the ocean. These are all AI generated, so they're going to be even more artificial looking. But I mean, the colors are going to be intense. Here's one that I don't know whether this one has enough intensity for you. I don't think it does. Let's look at this one. Oh, we don't need. I got to ask Mike about that issue where it keeps going back to the original border. I think I need to actually print and then it will keep that. So anyway, something like that. That's got intense colors. I'm going to choose one and then just stick to the, look at that. I can increase that. Let me go ahead and get the full version of it here, like so. I can double click it and I can increase saturation by 25 if that's what you want. Like so. That'll make it pretty intense. There you go. How about that? Those are very strong blues going into violets. Here's some purples. Let me go ahead and do a bit of an exposure adjustment here and sharpen. Using the new 2.0 sharpening tool. Here we go. Can't beat that. Now this should be printed maybe on canvas because it's got the texture. It has all the brush strokes and everything. When I created this, I asked specifically to maintain the look of a real oil painting. Okay, I got the correct filter. The correct profile. And check to see. This is where you're going to check to see if it's no color adjustment, matching. None. So this was automatically set by QImage. I didn't even have to think about that. Let this puppy load. Then once that's done, I gotta come back to sublimation, and also we're gonna be doing some printing on the 8550. Maybe we'll compare the results. I'm gonna be doing some papers that I just found I had, and we'll see how we do. While that is loading, speaking of sublimation, I'm going to have to retape this. going to gift myself one of my own mugs. This is one that I never sold. This was a pain, really, because the way you should do this is to hire someone else to create these mugs for you. You give them the graphic. They sell them. They do the shipping for you. You just get the orders, and you see what I mean, like a drop shipping company. Otherwise, I would have to charge. This cost me $5.95 each. I buy them in bulk, and I sublimate these. Inside is black. So this is gonna be my coffee cup. You will see me with this from now on. Now, here's what the hassle was. So people wanted. Why did that go on? Oh, the printer is asking me for help. Did I close the back lid? Probably not. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't close the little weird cover. Now it'll start printing. So I figure, I looked what other people were charging. There goes my air conditioning finally. It's been kind of cool today. Nice. It's going to be cooler the whole week, it sounds. So, and they were asking $20, $25. But then people wanted like 2-day service. That's $15. And there was no way that I was going to take that, out of my pocket. I would have to add that, and then people stopped ordering. So I stopped selling these. I only had 2 left anyway. So this is going to be mine. And I'm going to be drinking coffee out of this baby next week. So I'm going to put it here. I'll get rid of all its box. Tomorrow's trash. But anyway, this is what I used to do. I used to have several versions of that mug. Eat, sleep. What was it? Eat, sleep, breathe, or breathe, eat, sleep, whatever, printing. And so, and I had all the CNYK colors and all that goodies. Okay, this has begun to print, so we'll come back to that in a minute. One thing that I wanted to do while we were waiting, let me put this aside. I think I told you guys that I let this sit, and the wood got a little bit curly. Let me lay this down here to cool off. I mounted pictures on my wall back there, so that should be nice. This is all curled now. I made a mistake. I put that under my heating. Darn it. Oh well. I don't think this is going to uncurl itself at all. So I messed up. Let me see if I got my little screwdriver here. I'm going to save this. I got more of these little boards, so I'm going to be getting more. I'll take the little hanger. Unfortunately, if that does not uncurl itself, I'm going to have to toss it. Okay, here we go. I salvaged the little mount, at least. You go in there. All right. So I was working on these last week. I got them all almost done. The business cards. Got to keep track on that, because if I want to be done before that ends printing. So I have to mount each one of these one by one onto the equivalent print, and I need to do it so that the bottom edge is almost at the edge of the actual little. So it is now 124. I just want you to keep track of how long it takes to do this. Not because I want to make it sound like, oh, this took so much work, but to give you guys an idea. If you guys were going to be doing this, how long would it take to actually do this? So I do that second. What I'm doing is straddling with tape each one of these. You'll see what it looks like at the end. It doesn't matter which side you lay down because they are both printable. The only hassle, boy, they slip like wet feet on the ice outside. Okay, so 3 of them are done. That took a whole minute, maybe. Second set of 3. I didn't want to do this last night because I wanted to show you guys how long it takes. And I'm going to show you the whole thing. And this is what we're going to sandwich onto. Not sandwich. This is already the sandwich. The 3 layers. It'll be 9 little cards. That's almost done. 9 little cards onto one sheet. So each sheet has 9 images. These cards are a specific size, so you need to create a custom size InQ image so that your image fits with a tiny bit of bleed. Okay, see, if you were doing 100 of these, boy, it would take all afternoon. But still, it's a wonderful way to create business cards and make it unique, in other words. Because if you're going to be selling metal prints, you better have a metal card to give to people. I need one more. Okay, 2 more pieces of tape, and we are done. Now you have to make sure that there is no anything that will transfer to the back. Here we go. So this is what we have here. There better not be anything when I lay it in the press that will print on the back, because the back is also printable, both sides. Let me go get that print. It's not quite ready yet. I'm going to but preheat this baby. Get the moisture out. It's almost done. I'll bring it. It's looking really good, by the way. Now, this is using Canon paper, Canon profile on the Pro-1000. And I'm using mostly I have a few third-party inks in there, like the grays. I think one of the blacks is third-party. The rest is OEM. I think we're almost done. Hang on 1 second. Or 1 minute. I'm looking at the result. Let me orient it correctly. Again, you got to realize this monitor is not calibrated, so I need to look at it on my monitor here. Hang on. Close that. Let me see if I can do this equally, as equal as I can. Yeah, so the colors are pretty almost identical, considering the fact that it is not calibrated properly. But yeah, other than that, it's intense, if I say so. Very intense. So is this satisfactory? The reason you're looking for this information is because you're curious about the Pro-1000. If you feel like it, print the same image, similar paper on the 8550. I don't have similar paper right now for the 8550, unfortunately. So I would need a Kodak semi-gloss. All I have is others. And we're going to be doing, I'll probably be printing similar images on different papers. I was planning on doing somewhat of a comparison. Where did I put that file? What did I do with it? Right here. By the way, what do you think of this one? Okay. This one I showed you that was really bright earlier. Okay, this is ready. Let me get my thoughts in line here. I need to get this done at this point. So I am going to lay this down, get a sheet of regular paper. I don't need to spend my more expensive paper. I just use a regular sheet of white and we'll press it. Wait, and then those cards will be done. And then I can proceed with some of this other. I have some Red River papers here. Ooh. Gosh, I don't want to use this. I found a few more sheets of San Gabriel Burrita. Oh my gosh. No, I am going to save this. I am not going to use it. There's no more of this. It does not exist anymore. And so I am going to keep this. This is going to go down here. So this is Pecos Gloss Magna. And it is, and then also super weight matte, it says here. Let's see what's really reciting in here. Okay. Pecos Gloss Magna. Is there, I don't think they make this anymore. Is there a profile for it? I'm going to see. If there isn't one, then I'm going to go ahead and just use the Pecos Gloss regular profile on it. And we'll print this one on it. How about that? That'll be a pretty close comparison. This is very glossy. Well, you know, the other one is not, so. This is why I say, you see that? That will transfer in the back. If I use the same paper and I put it over another batch, that will transfer into the back of the prints, the little business cards. My friend would not be happy with that, and neither would I. That's why I got rid of them. I tossed them. Okay, let's move this over here as well as this. Woo, hot. Let this cool off a wee bit and we'll peel them off. Okay, let's see what else I got. So this one here looks like a mat. So what kind of mat is it? Is there a name to it? It says, what did I write down on the package? Super weight photo mat. So what would I use as a profile? Possibly one of the existing profiles that they have. I don't know if we're going to be able to find that specific profile. Okay, let's peel this off. Perfect. So that will end that. That will finish that batch. So yeah, this is what it takes to do this by hand. If you are interested in doing this, you of course need a sublimation printer. If I really go hog wild on sublimation, which I think I will, you know, the next investment is going to be an 8550 and just set it up for sublimation. I'll set it up with the Hipu inks, and that'll be strictly for sublimation, because once you go that route, you really cannot come back. So I will set it up from the start, and then I'll just use those inks for this printer here to feed this printer. But yeah, I would have to do that. That's the only way to really make sense, is to go from the very beginning with that printer, set it up for sublimation. It's a, you know, it is a tank system. The bottles that you buy, I don't know whether they are the same bottle that you can then load on it automatically. Okay, here's something odd that happened. I had two of them stuck together. So I'm going to have to see if I can peel them apart. I thought I had 9, and then all of a sudden I only had 8. No, there it is. So this one got a little smidgen in the edge. So this one came out perfect. So that is it. That job is done. Excellent. I cannot reuse this. It's got a little printable edge on it. Okay. In here it goes. So let's look at the website and see what Red River has. All right, great. I'm glad you loved it. I'm going to look in Red River and then click on ICCs. So here are the profiles. And I need to look at that paper type again. And one of them was that, what was that? The glossy one. That's the one I'm interested in at this point. Pecos Gloss Magna. Wait a minute. I think this is just talking about profiles. ICC. Okay. Oh, I should have just used the, okay, anyway. We'll go for the 8550. See if it even exists, and if it does not, we'll just download a similar. So five things on the papers. Okay, so Pecos. Yeah, the Palo Duro, Palo Polar, Pecos River Gloss. That's the closest it gets. So we'll use ultra premium photo paper. Turn on thick paper. And where do you choose to download? I think you got to download the whole stinking bunch of papers. So Pecos Gloss. Let me see if I can find it in QImage. Let me minimize that. So we're going to go back to the 8550. Premium photo paper glossy. It's got to be 8.5 by 11. Yeah, papers. Okay. And let the suggest paper profile. And EPSON. So we need to look for Red River Pecos. Let's look for Pecos. $85.50 right here, Pecos River Gloss. Okay. That's going to have to be it. Okay, so we'll have to use that one. And I want a smaller border. I don't want to crop it either. So let's just choose 1/4 inch. So 0.25. I don't want to crop it. I want to have the whole thing like so. And print. I think it should be able to handle the thickness, okay? Besides, this has a printed name on the edge, so it doesn't really, I don't need to be that careful with it. Almost done. $90 something and 96, 100. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that, again, this will be totally different printers. Same image, similar papers. We'll see what we get. Hopefully we'll get something that sort of matches this. A lovely thing. Again, I created this on AI, and it looks like an actual painting. So why don't we paint? Why don't we paint? Why don't we print that on one of the canvas papers that I have here? This is getting hot. I'm going to turn it off for now. Blanco canvas. Here we go. Now this might be a little bit tough to feed, but I am going to try my best. This is a matte canvas. Here it is right here. It is real. This is a surface. This is the back. Might as well do it because this is a painting. I gotta find a profile for it. Let that go. Hi, Dimitris. Better late than never. Hi from Athens, Greece. Welcome. And Pete, thank you for printing. I wanted to see how intense blue looked. Yeah, Pro-1000 has blue proprietary ink. So it beats the living daylights out of the the P800, believe me. I did, again, I hope I still have this video. I did it a long time ago, but I did a comparison between the two printers, the Pro-1000 and the P800. And it was a shot in the beach, at the beach, and there was a sign, and a kid and his dad, I believe it was, that had a bright blue, deep blue purple shirt. In the P800, the blue shirt came out kind of a dark bluish gray. In the Pro-1000, it came out deep blue. It matched the screen. The screen looked like it was neon, like it was popping at me. And the Pro-1000 was able to reproduce that. I need to look again at the profiles here. Let me look over here. I can see it a lot better. So we're going to look at Blanco. Profile download right here. Oh, there's you got to download all of them. So I'm going to open up that PDF. I mean the RAR file. And this is it. This is a whole kit and caboodle of profiles for the 8550, folks. I just downloaded the whole batch. But let's look at this first. We're jumping around here from topic to topic. This is, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And close enough, I think. I think it's close enough. So this brings out a very interesting situation. Okay. Do you really need a Pro-1000? Well, yeah, if you're going to print large, like 17 by 20 something, right? This is only 13 by 19. But look at the renditions. I want you to guys to look at this closely. And of course, my camera cannot do it justice. Okay, I see differences slightly. These renditions here compared to these, but it's just minuscule. The yellows, the tonalities here of the more neutral flower, the oranges. Remember, this Pro-1000 has proprietary red. The EcoTank only can create red with yellow and magenta, properly mixed, that is. Yeah, and this I would say this is a bit of a tough image to print. Possibly many of the colors are out of gamut because I on purpose increase the saturation. But yeah, so here you are. If I just hit this and I made an argument with you about, yeah, the 8550 can kick the Pro-1000's butt, and you would not believe me. But let's just compare it with this, in case the lighting is uneven. Okay. So you make your own decision. The 8550 is amazing. It just blows my, every time I use it, it blows my mind. Okay, the blue, see that blue vase? It's a little bit lighter here, a little bit less intense, but again, I'm using another type of polar gloss profile, and not the one that was intended for this, whatever the heck this polar gloss is named. Okay. Yeah, you make your own decision after seeing this. I am looking at this orange slice here and this one. I would like to show this to someone that knows what they're looking at and just ask them if they can believe that this was done with the 6-color, actually only using 5 colors printer compared to 12 tanks. Yeah, this is still a better print. This is a better print. Absolutely. Only because of the paper type. It's just better than this. But like here, this insignificant region here is better than that. My deep tones are better. They're better separated. I see more detail in areas that may be pure black, like 0, 0, 0. If I took a reading of these tones, yeah, but it's still amazing that something like that can produce that level of quality. Okay, so let me see if we even have a profile for that paper. It's called Blanco Canvas. And no, I do not see it. Oh, well, so yeah, so that means that I would have to just use some off the wall setting and live with that. The only other way would be for me to create a profile, which I am not about to do. I only have so much of this material available. Yeah, so let's come up with some trick that we can use to print on that canvas. Let's see if there's even a canvas choice here. So we're going to go into the media settings. Let me go back to you guys and see what I'm doing. And we'll go to, no. So, this printer is really not made for canvas. I'm curious to see what will happen if I choose Velvet Fine Art. Just let it control. I don't want to use I don't want to use my profile. I want to just let it control color. If I use, I don't know. Let's try it. Let's try it with my profile. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be totally unplanned here. Now, normally you would print this borderless. Let's go borderless and see what happens with cropping. Of course, it's going to crop. So I have to go to properties, and then I have to go to borderless right there. And this is gonna, I hate doing this because it actually will cause a bit of bleed. This does not look like borderless to me. Maybe you cannot do that with that paper type. I don't know. Let's see. Let me go back to the settings. This should have gone borderless. Let me remove this, and then we'll start all over again. Okay, so there we go. We'll set it to borderless. Yeah, I already have it set to borderless. And now I will add, I got to remember which one we did. Make sure I got the right one. This one. And of course it's messing with me at this point. I want to rotate. If Mike was here, he would tell me, Jose, you're doing that wrong. Let me see what happens if I do that. No. rotate, do not rotate, auto rotate off. Huh. I want to fill it. I want to fill the whole thing. Maybe you can't. Maybe you cannot do that. So that might be the reason. So let's go ahead and just get off of borderless and just do it with a border. Oh well. Or just fill. Let me take borderless off and just fit to paper. We'll get the fit to page, and we'll just do that instead. And let's print it. Cross fingers. This would have to be sprayed, obviously, after the fact. Normally, you use a glossy varnish. It's a special varnish for canvases. And so that would give it that rich look. This is what I did for my little paintings. I got the framed ones upstairs, but this is what I did here. I just didn't spray these yet, but these have a texture like canvas, and I'm going to go ahead and spray them, make them a little bit more glossy, and that way it'll give them that look. Here are my little frames. My framed ones. Let that baby load. I did everything on this. The ladies were shocked when they saw this. Anyway, let me make sure. Oh, I should have been over there helping this. Oh, it loaded it. No, it did not. It says it ran out of paper. Sure it did. Did I even put it? Did I put a sheet? No, I did not, dummy. Ha ha ha. See that? What a silly boy. Okay, let's go ahead. Next. Load paper. Don't dumb. Okay, I gotta help it. There we go. That's a good boy. There you go. I haven't done this in a very, very long time, where I have was loaded paper. This is one that has been sprayed. So you can see how much brighter the result is, and it looks like canvas. It's got that texture. People loved it. Here's one without having been sprayed. This is the back. Normally you would put a paper label with the provenance of the photo of the painting, whatever, provenance, yeah, and that will give it more value apparently. So I hope this turns out okay. Let's see, what time is it? Oh, 1:58. Almost at 2 hours. Okay, excellent. Super weight photo mat. I don't know if I want to try that today. Let me see what else we got here. This is a canvas. We did that already. Hanamill. Oh, what do we have here? The problem with that is, are there profiles for the 8550? This would be Hanamill Fine Art Pearl. Let me do this with, say, a semi-gloss. Okay, Fine Art Pearl. But first, I'm going to see if it even exists. Of course, I got to remember how to spell HALIMUN. H MU with two little dots on top. And I think, oh, there's even a link for profile downloads. Excellent. I'm just wondering if they make anything for the 8550, because it simply is not considered a photo printer, but we'll see. Maybe. Yeah, there's nothing for the for the 8550, unfortunately. Let me make sure that I am fully looking at everything. EPSON, please select. Let's see if they have anything in the 8550. They do. EcoTank 8550. Very good. Very good. So, what group would this be considered being? This would be art of expression. Wait a minute. So, I don't have all of these printers. So that would be, what did I just put in there or take out? The Fine Art Pearl. So that category would be there's a whole bunch of here, so I need to find Fine Art Pearl. Okay, so that would be in the glossy fine art category. Here we go. Fine Art Burrito, Fine Art Pearl, download. Okay, it's downloaded. Open file location. And there it is. It's in a zip file. So let me take it out. Oh, okay, lots of info. And there, I double clicked it. I should install it. I need to close QImage and then reopen it again. So it will be in there, that folder. So let's open up QImage again. Let me cut this down because I want to save its life a little bit. This is done. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. This is the real deal, folks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let me put this in the printer. I'm going to do something else. Another. So let's see. Glossy up front, canvas in the back. Blanco canvas. That's it. I'm sold. Yeah. There's no need to even, yeah. If I was going to print this, I would take this and let's see. Spray the back after I, prep it. Spray the back and attach it to a piece of fiberboard. Again, nothing aqueous, no water glues or anything like that. Just a regular spray. and then frame it. We'll pop it in a frame with no glass in the front. Just, of course, would have varnished it already. I mean, this is a painting. So the only thing that you could do to fake it even more would be to use like Mod Podge and some bristle brushes and go over some of the areas that have what they call impasto, which is a thicker brush stroke, such as here, for instance. That looks like it was done with a palette knife. Um, and just sort of fake it a little bit, give it some actual 3D texture. That will dry clear, and then you'll have a pretty good result. I actually seen that process done there's a very fancy art store at Disney Springs. Used to be, what was it called? Downtown Disney in the old days. So Disney Springs has a very fine art, expensive stuff in there. And the so-called fake paintings that they have done, they did that. They applied some fake brush strokes. So even though it's 3D printed, not 3D printed, but inkjet printed, it will have the brush strokes. Let me get this set up here. Okay, so that's a pretty lovely result, I should say. Let me see what else I got here. How about this one? So I am going to do this for this. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I'm going to use, let's see, what kind of paper is that? It's pearl. So what did they say? I got to open up that file again because it gives you a recommendation what to use. In other words, what type of paper to use. Open this up. There is a PDF file in there that I want to take a look at. Oh, it's not in English. Hang on a second. It's in German. Let me see if there's one in English. I can use that one. Okay, let's open up that file again and see if there's a PDF in English. I assume that EN is English. Here we go. Now we are in the right choice here. Okay. So yeah, black point compensation on. Media, that's all I needed to know. Premium semi-gloss. Okay, great. Premium semi-gloss. So premium semi-gloss. And of course, we got to go back to our size. At one point, I was using a custom size. So premium semi-gloss, we're just going to fit to page. And, or maybe, let's see. Maybe I don't want to crop it. That'll work a little bit better. Okay, so now we got to find that profile. So we don't want the metallic one. What I could do simply is do this. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. I don't want to save this. Let that load a second here. Yeah. I am going to simply look for the one I just installed by clicking on the date. And then I go all the way down, and that should be it. No, it didn't install. I thought I installed it. Hang on. That's weird. Let me go back to the downloads. I'm going to transfer the file to my desktop this time. It should be, it is named HFA EPSON 8550 PK Fine Art Pro. So right click or double click and install profile. I need to get out of there. And if it's not in there, I have to restart QH possibly. But it should be there now. No. How about if I just do Pearl? That's what happens when you have a million profiles. Okay. There we go. There it is, right there. Boom. I love the search mode that you can use to find a profile. Okay, so we are ready to print this bad boy. We'll see what we get. We should get a pretty nice rendition. I don't think I did any sharpening on this. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have. When it starts to print, I'm going to go ahead and cancel because I need to apply some sharpening to this. I didn't do that when I created the AI. I'm going to have to let it load and then I'll cancel it. The previous one, I went ahead and added more saturation, which is, you're not supposed to really do that, but I mean, this is set the way I want it to be out of Photoshop. So, and again, I would have to buy some more canvas and maybe some larger canvases. So I'm going to cancel, double click, exposure, and yeah, I'm not going to add any more saturation. Boom, and boom. And now we'll print it. Now we'll go ahead and print it. So this should look pretty good. It's got a nice, very mild texture and a bit of gloss. This baby right here, I'm going to have to let this fully dry and then I'll apply the spray. I have some varnish, but you have to use a brush or a little roller to apply it, and usually only after you mount it. So if I was to mount this on a little, an actual stretcher, I would then spray it afterwards or roll it, varnish it afterwards. Right now, I would possibly, I don't know, attach it to, this is 8.5 by 11, so, piece of fiberboard. I have some 12 by 12. Have to trim it to size and see. But I would like to have it be borderless. That would have been better. I got to figure out how to do that. It should have allowed me to just print it borderless, not just the 2 edges. Okay, so that loaded just fine. No issues. Great. That is good. Now, another interesting story I don't know whether they exist anymore, but this stuff is old. When I was starting out here, let's see what this happens to be. Well, I have different ones in here. Good. So this is not the trick that I did. They had these packs for $5. I pulled together $200 and bought 40 packs on eBay. And then I went ahead and separated all of the different types of papers and put them as stacks in a separate envelope. So you can imagine what I ended up with. So this one's supposed to have metallic glossy, warm tone, impress rag cold or cool tone. So you see what I mean about tonalities. The paper itself imparts a tonality. Pro gloss, pro silky, Barita warm tone. Let's take a look. So the first one is rag cool tone. And the other one is warm. I could see visually this is cooler than this. And so forth. Let me look at that silky one. Oh, the metallic is really cool looking. Yeah. Which one is this? This is a silky. Yeah. Very neat. Pro Gloss, Burrito, and Warm. So yeah, that's a nice collection. I wouldn't know what to pick at this point. And it seems like I only have a couple of sheets of each. So I am going to pass up this one because I'll have to really come up with some proper images to print on this. If I had 10 of each, then yeah, I would go ahead and maybe experiment a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and save this. This is about to come out, and we did everything correctly. We got the profile. We used the correct paper type as recommended by HALIMUN. And yeah, it's gorgeous. So let's just stop for a moment. So look what happens. You see that little corner right there? Yeah. So, if I was going to frame this and mat it, so I would cut that off, slice it on my slicer, cut it off, then have it framed with a mat, no glass. Why would you put glossy glass over this? Makes no sense. If you use good inks, these inks will last 30 years easily under normal conditions. Don't put it next to a sunny window in the morning. Okay, it's going to fade. All inks will do that. It doesn't matter which ones, by the way. You expose it to extreme situations, they will fade. Your car faded sitting outside. Okay, so and sign it right underneath here, or put a title here, signature, date, or 001, whatever you want to add to it if you're doing multiple versions. And this is how you would sell this. Now, you could at the so-called weekend fairs that you go to, farmers markets, and some people will be selling art. They'll just put this in a sleeve, and then it'll be signed, and then it's up to you to frame it. So something like this would definitely go. And do you have to necessarily prove that this was an AI generated image? What else would it be? Okay, really. You may want to add, say that, and or this could be something you created on the computer yourself. There's people that can do something like this. I'm not that good, okay, but many people aren't. So you see what I'm talking about? So far, we've had some hits, I think. The person that was wondering about color intensity doesn't get better than that, doesn't get better than this. All of these were done here in this so-called toy of a printer. The this knobby, I don't want to use that term, but there are some this knobby printers out there who believe it only a Epson P whatever can produce, correct. Let's just say, what do they call that? I keep forgetting the word for long lasting, museum level. Um, really, okay. You can say whatever you want, but okay, yeah, yeah. And I got hundreds upon hundreds of other prints that I have stored in the back room. That will basically prove what I'm saying. That if we are able to tweak our process to the point where it is at a maximum quality, this printer, I could cheat. I could cheat and print it on a really nice paper and then print one on, say, luster and use a better paper here with a proper profile and show it to people without telling them who. And I'll tell them that two printers were used. They will very likely pick that one. Okay, it depends on how I trick you. Okay, so it's amazing what these printers can produce nowadays. And something like this, somebody was just the other day talking about, oh man, wouldn't it be nice if we had a 17-inch version of this with two more colors, for instance? Yeah, that would be nice. But do you really need two more colors? So I would want a, let's see, what do I think needs help here compared to the king of 17-inch printers or queen? What does my 8550 need to surpass? Yeah, indeed, that is a better print. Okay, slightly better, but it's just so imperceptible. Most people will. Okay, unless I tell you to specifically look for something, you will not see it unless you know what to look for. That's the way it is. And so once you see that, then you go, oh yeah, there is a slight difference. Look at the way this color was rendered compared to, yeah. But it's just splitting hairs. This is awesome. This is really good. Now, big deal. So it can produce great, bright colors. Can it produce very subtle colors? Can it do black and white? Yeah, it can do black and white as well. So is it comparable to the Pro 1100 or the Pro 1000? No, not really. The Pro 1000 will still outdo you when it comes to monochrome tonality. Um, Beautiful gradual changes in tonality. You're working with two grays. You're working with just a much better print engine than what this thing has. This has got a scanner. It's meant for you to use it in your office without having to worry about cost of ink, without having to worry about, oh, do I need to print every day to keep it from clogging? So yeah, but on the other hand, it can perform, like you have seen it perform. I'm not pulling any tricks. You know very well this is not what I do. So What you see is what you get. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Any more questions? I'm going to stop for a little bit and have you guys ask. I've been talking nonstop. I want you guys to jump in and help me here, come up with some more conversations here. So HZ says, in my experience, the EcoTank at E550 Reds could use some help. Okay, subtly. So let's look at that. Let's look at the reason I chose that image and had it approved by you guys, especially I think it was Pete, was the fact that it had reds. We were dealing with reds. So to be totally unfair, I'm going to go with the semi-gloss and the canvas comparison. Totally different types of paper. This one's a matte. It's going to be duller. Did I use Vivid Fine Art for this? I don't remember now. I'd have to go back and check. But when you say better rendering of reds, this might be what you're looking for. You see this right here? Pro-1000, 8550. But this is matte. Once I spray this, you see that there's a bit of difference. And again, my camera's going to hide. This is not a high dynamic range, wide gamut camera. So you can see the difference. This is more orangey. This is more, contains a lot more of the different tonalities, containing some of them that are actually a little bit truer to red than what we got here. So we got the, come back here. Here we have the pinks and oranges, the big old flower right here. And again, it's something that you will only detect when you're examining both results at once under the same lighting, the same conditions. Otherwise, no, you're not going to see that. I'm going to show you that, and unless you got some kind of magical photographic memory in your head, and you know what the Pro-1000 would have produced as opposed to what I'm showing you, yeah, that would be what you would need, the kind of power that you would need, special superpower, to say, oh no, I remember that this red looked like this on the Pro-1000, and it's more accurate than this red. Print your standard image. That is the best go-to tool you have. Print it on both printers and examine those strawberries. Even the Pro-100 original OEM inks fell short. When Precisioncolors created their set, the so-called signature edition ink set, and I broke out. I felt terrible doing this. I broke out one of my boxes, Pro-100 boxes, took out the ink set from there, and I installed it on my current Pro-100. Did 2 cleaning cycles to remove all traces of previous inks, and I printed my standard image and a few prints that I was gonna, a few images that I was gonna use as a control. And then I removed those cartridges, put the refilled cartridges with the PCSE inks in, 2 cleaning cycles, and I began to repeat the same process using the OEM ICC profiles from Canon. The PCSE inks produce better strawberries, truer to what I saw on my monitor, than the original OEM, supposed to be the best there is. Cyans fell short as well. And a couple of days later, I did another set of prints, and he saw the video and he goes, wait a minute, stop. And then he says, I'm going to send you a different cyan. So I get this bottle. He says, throw away the other cyan. And I'm going, are you kidding me? Looks fine to me. No. He said, no, throw it away. I said, okay. So I loaded freshly flushed and dried cartridges with that cyan ink, made the prints, and sure enough, I could see the difference. A ballerina that was wearing a very light cyan-ish looking silky dress, outfit, whatever. And it just looked truer than the original one with the SE cyan he had already incorporated in that inkset. He was already selling it. And so he snuck in the new cyan so that people who bought the new one, another set of inks would get that new cyan. Most people would not even see the difference, but he did. So that's how we got to that point. And, then the Pro 200, and I've said this dozens of times, Pro 200 came out, and I see the ad, and I see this claim that they're making. They're using the standard image, and they're showing you that strawberries on the original OEM ink Pro 100 look a little orangey. Strawberries with the new Pro 200 ink set look red, the way they should be. I was getting the same results with the SE inks than you're showing me with the Pro 200. Better results. You see? So actually, it turned out the Pro 200 ink had been tweaked even more. So he got busy, and within a few months, he had a new inkset for the Pro 200 as well. And I think that's still available for purchase at this point from Precisioncolors. Yeah. Again, there's no red ink. That has red ink. So you start mixing, you start going from yellow, and then you start adding a little bit of magenta, more magenta, less yellow, and you start to move toward orange and toward a very deep orange red, and then a red. Once it reaches red, it begins to use that proprietary red ink. The same thing with the blue range. Once you go past cyan, it gets into blue. Blue is more purplish color. Cyan is what we call blue. A lot of people call cyan blue. It's the color of the sky. So that's how it works. And so these two colors are helping the print engine produce more accurate blues, purples, whatever, anything on that range. And of course, the red ink comes into play. The 8550, the 9500, this one right here that I told you I have it printed for, and it's dead, had green ink, had red and green ink. And those colors would not become activated until I chose a certain paper. So it was linked to a specific paper type. And again, anything else, you couldn't really produce a super accurate green. So mixing cyan and yellow, at some point it would just reach, okay, that's as green as I can go. And all of a sudden I start turning cyan. So I never could reach a true green. So it needed green ink to be able to give you that complete transition from yellow to green to cyan. Or in the case of the red, from yellow to orange to red, and then back to magenta. Okay, so that's what they did. All right, I think you guys are pretty much tuckered out, as I am. My throat is hurting me right now, so I am going to go ahead and thank you guys for coming back one more Sunday. I will begin again Monday uploading videos. I got to set them up as soon as I get off the air here, and they'll be up at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 8 o'clock. And then the next day for the whole week until Friday. Saturday at noon Eastern Standard Time, I will be uploading another early old live stream. Go back and watch those. They're interesting. They are. Learn to see or discover what we were talking about a few years ago. Okay. And so you should be able to enjoy that. I'm doing this to get as much of my content back up, whatever I happen to have available back up and ready to be enjoyed again, hopefully by some people. All right. So thank you. Thank you so very much. Let me go ahead and prep the next slideshow. The way we always do that. Oh, too loud. And so we're going to go ahead and set that up. It is ready to roll. Let me do my thank you. Pop that over there. See, I used to be able to do that behind the scenes. Can't do that anymore. That's not the way this is working now. So, unfortunately. Okie doke. So we will be back next week, same time, same channel. Everybody enjoy the week coming up. I have appointments with my wife, and the same old, same old. My grandson starts school Tuesday, so it'll be back to me picking him up on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. He's in the 8th grade now, big boy. He might actually ride his bike to school. He only lives about 2 miles away, so who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Who knows how much Grandpa will become involved this year? He's getting really big and very mature for his age. Amazing. All happened this summer. It's like something happened, and wow, I didn't recognize that kid anymore. All right. Thank you so much. We will see you next week, same time. As always, everybody have a great time. Bye-bye, everyone. Let me put this on and